Fun times at bar shows. That's what's coming up on The Art of Bombing, episode 135.
My friend Dan, he's got a podcast, 'cause all comics need a podcast, and nobody had a podcast called The Art of Bombing. So Dan went out and bought a tape deck. Who knows why he bought a tape deck? Now podcasts don't get played on tape decks, but Dan is from the 80s. So hey there, all you funny jerks, come talk to Dan about your work. Tell him all about your worst times. It's The Art of Bombing.
Welcome to a brand new episode of The Art of Bombing. I'm Dan Bublitz Jr., here with you on this fine Friday. That's right, it's Friday, it's not Tuesday. You're probably thinking, whoa, why is there a second episode? This week we've already had a great episode, and now there's another one? What gives? Well, if you don't know what gives, then you probably didn't listen to the episode on Tuesday. And what gives is I have so many episodes in the bank and the time that I've decided to release 2 episodes a week for the intermittent time being. That could change with however the future changes. I can't guarantee how long that'll be, but for right now, I'm going to be releasing episodes on Tuesdays and Fridays. So, thank you for listening. Today on the show is my good pal, very good comedy pal of mine, Larry Smith, and we had a great conversation. Excited to share that with you. Before we do that, going to take care of a little bit of business. I'm going to keep it pretty brief, though, because it's Friday. You probably got weekend plans. I got weekend plans. People got weekend plans, and we can't be stopping anybody from their weekend plans. Hopefully, the weekend plans are to listen to this awesome podcast. And that brings me to my first order of business, and that is to say thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting this podcast. It's because of you that I'm able to do what I do, or that I have the motivation to do what I do. And I'm not one, I don't really keep track of the stats or watch charts or things like that, but for whatever reason, I decided to give them a check earlier this week, and it turns out that The Art of Bombing made it into the top 100 on the Apple charts this week. We came in at 47 in the category of stand-up comedy podcast. So, thank you so much, because it's because of the people that listen to it. All you people that are listening right now, you're the reason that we were able to do that. So I want to say thank you so much. Again, if you really enjoy the podcast, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and share the content. Share it with somebody. Some people do that a lot, which brings me to my next order of business. I want to do a shout-out. That's right. I want to give a shout-out to Shell Baxter. She has her own little podcast called Coffee Talk with Shell, and she's a big supporter, a big fan of the show. She always retweets the tweets with the episodes, tells people about the podcast. It's people like that that really help make this podcast what it is, and that's great, and I appreciate it so much. So I wanted to give out that shout out. So again, if you really want to help the show, tell a friend, and give me a rating or review. Wherever you listen to this podcast, give me a 5-star rating and say some nice words. Tell us how this podcast is benefiting you. I'd like to hear that. That would be great. So, the last thing I want to do is I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I got a couple live shows coming up that I want to talk about. Tomorrow, Saturday, May 23rd, there we go, my weekly virtual storytelling show, Exposed, will be on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. Check that out. Got a lot of performers from across the country that are going to be on that show with me. And each week is a different theme. So each week is different stories, and each week is a different lineup of performers from across the country, so it's going to be good. Then, next Friday, May 29th, me and my buddy David Allen Freitas are putting on a private Zoom show. I mean, it's public, but it's a paid show. You pay $5 for a ticket, and you get to see us do an hour of stand-up comedy. It's going to be a fun show. He's a good comedy friend of mine from the West Coast. He lives out in California, and we used to run around together when I was out there. So that's all I got for announcements. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend, and enjoy this conversation I had with my good friend, Larry Smith. Have you been doing quite a few virtual shows?
Not really. I've got a couple more coming up that just got booked, but I'm doing something with Jeremy Plum. It's going to be like a stage reading of He hasn't announced it, so I'm not going to say what it is. But I'm doing
Okay.
something with him, and then I've got 3 podcast projects in the works right now.
Wow.
So figure if I can't get on stage, I might as well. I've got the time to work on these other projects. So
Absolutely. That's
yeah.
this is the time to do it. That's what I've been doing. All kinds of different things, trying different
Oh,
things.
absolutely.
Uh,
Well, I
yeah, that's all.
had the game show that was coming up,
Yeah.
that's passed, and so I talked to the producers, and I was like, okay, we have to have a live. We could do it streaming, we could do it through Zoom, we could do all these different things. I said, but there's something about with this, just the live audience with their suggestions that we have to have, and so I said, let's just take it a different direction, and so I'm getting a little bit of equipment in so that I can actually record quality sound, and then we're off to the races on that one. So,
Oh, fantastic.
yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm just working on building the bank for the Art of Bombing now. That's a lot of what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Doing that,
that's awesome.
doing my homework and stuff like that. So, doing stuff on the streaming and whatnot.
Well,
All that fun stuff.
I was doing a bunch of writing, and then the day job got us set up to work from home, and so my writing went from like 2 hours every day of just solid sitting down, writing and editing and looking over stuff and miscellaneous things, and then working from home during the day. And by the time I get done at the end of it, I'm like, I don't want to be in front of another computer.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
done.
Yep, I hear that. Yeah. Well, that's why you need to do is just get the pen and paper and use that way. You're not in front of the computer and you think of ideas. At least you can jot them down.
Yeah, I did just get a bunch of legal pads delivered, so that was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. The new show that I've been doing, the Renewed, that's been helping me. Not necessarily write new stuff, but at least rewrite stuff. Because then I've been thinking of, and it's actually inspired me to do some new stuff as well. Like think of some new ideas or whatever. So
right.
Yeah, all these writing exercises definitely help. I want to try to start dedicating a couple hours to writing, not necessarily stand up, but just in general, because I have a couple ideas for some scripts and stuff that I want to write. So,
yeah, jokingly this morning, after seeing a tweet about from Chris Calagero, I don't know if you know him. He's an East Coast comic. Does some super funny stuff on Twitter. He's the guy that does like he calls him your uncle that by the look of him and the sound of him, you think he's going to believe one way politically, but then it's completely different than what you expect. And so it's like this, like this big Gambino guy. He's wearing like just the white tank top, like the white undershirt, and he's got his hair going everywhere. And then he's super liberal, and it's so funny. And he'll do movie characters and movie tropes. But he had said, I'm hoping that all this time in quarantine, Hollywood will figure out that we need another series of movies about slobs versus snobs. Go for it. And I looked at Nicole and I was like, I think I just wrote a romantic comedy of slob versus snobs. Let me tell you. And I got through the whole thing. Like I pitched the movie to her and she was like, she goes, honestly, that's gross, but I can totally see how that's going to be a movie script. And I was like, why don't I just write it and we just bank in? We just cash in on that wave. Because it involves the quarantine and who's the slob and who's the snob? Turns out the girl's the slob. Oh no, what a switch. Girls can't be slobs. How funny.
Yeah. Oh, look at that misdirection. Oh,
right? Exactly.
All that misdirection. I like it.
Look, if I just concentrated on that and writing romance novels, I could quit my day job.
Well, there you go. That seems like a legit. I mean, I could see you totally being a romance novelist.
Right. I just got to remember terms like quivering love pudding and turgid flesh, and I'm in. I'm good.
That's right. Oh my God. I could totally see that. Larry Smith presents Into the Night.
And it's spelled with a K.
Yeah, yep, Into the
Yeah.
Night. Yeah. And it's yeah.
Yeah.
Has to do with a pegging or something.
Yes. Absolutely. We don't kink shame in my romance novels.
It's more erotic than romance, but hey, tomato.
Look, all I'm going to say, I'm not going to say how I know, but pegging can be very romantic. I'm just going to put it that way.
Oh, I might have to have a conversation with Nicole.
Yeah. Just check out our OnlyFans page. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I'll get you a coupon for 20 free minutes.
Onlyfans.com/the Smiths.
Yeah, / Into the Night is what it is, actually.
Into the Night, yeah, with a K.
Yeah.
And it's just you dressed as the night getting pegged.
Yeah, just from the waist up. Just everything waist down is gone. Except for like the shin guards. I gotta have the shin guards.
You got the shin guards, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, there we go. You just I think we figured out your gold mine, buddy.
I think so.
You just got to get Nicole on board.
Like that. She's so cool. Whatever, baby. Let's just achieve your dreams. I'm cool with it.
Let's do it. We don't need no stinking day jobs. We can make erotica in the basement. Come on.
You've been in the basement. It's a perfect setting.
Right? Oh, exactly. I mean, look at all them signs behind you.
Right? I mean, it wouldn't be good for a night setting, but like, lonely bartender.
Well, actually, you got the big giant axe behind you.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there's that.
Yeah. Big tough night can be sensitive too.
Exactly.
Anything for you, princess, as you wish.
Oh man. The sad thing is you're probably gonna go talk to Nicole about this afterwards.
I just think it'd make a great sketch now.
It would be pretty funny. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Just visualizing you in a wearing armor from the waist up and then shin guards. Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy. Oh, man. This is fun. This seems like a good place to transition to the bombing part of this podcast.
Yeah.
Get into to that. You are a second time guest on the Art of Bombing. You've been on the Art of Bombing, a live Art of Bombing. You haven't got your own whole episode. You did do a live episode at the Paul Bunyan Comedy Festival a couple years ago, and we had a pretty good time. We had a pretty good exchange there. You basically just roasted me.
I didn't mean to, but it was
all in good fun.
Yeah,
it was great. We had some pretty good banter, but so now we're going to do this. We're doing this full episode here.
Excellent.
And I'm sure I hope you have another story to tell, because if you tell the same story, that would be super goofy.
No, I've got, I actually asked Nicole, I was like, okay, help me come up with 3 and help me pick the best one. And she's like, all right, here's this one. It's a short one. You might have these other 2 in your back pocket. And I was like, thank you, darling. I appreciate that. I said, your answer was supposed to be, baby, I've never seen you bomb. You've always been fantastic. And she was like, why would I start lying now? We've been married for so long.
Yeah, why start now? That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we're ready for me to talk about failure.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's hear this awesome story.
So I'm sure, okay, any comic that listens to this, I'm certain has had a similar experience where it was a bar show, okay? And it was a bar show in Southern Illinois. And it seemed like it was going to be like a really cool, I'm going to leave a lot of names out of this except for maybe one of the other comics I worked with because he's cool. But picked up the guy that was producing the show and was hosting. And he was like, this really cool space. And it was a really cool space. And we walk in and I'm looking around and I don't see any, normally, even if it's a bar show, there's like posters or something up. And we're looking around and there's nothing until one of us goes to the bathroom and sees like one poster on the men's room door. We walk in and they're like, we didn't realize that was happening tonight. I was like, it's right there on the poster. It's right. And they're like, yeah, we just kind of forgot. I was like, oh, great.
Wow.
Okay. Now, not on me. That's fine. And I'm like, I've done this before. This has happened to, you go to a bar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not that they had even forgotten. Sometimes it's just that they didn't give a shit. They're like, yeah, whatever, over there. So we're asking, okay, where's the stage? And they're like, there's no stage. Okay, no big deal. Where's the sound? You said you had sounds? Yeah, it's over there in the corner. We don't know how to run it. So go and look. The producer goes to look. It's a karaoke machine sound system. God. So, but like legit sound system, but a karaoke sound system. Mm-hmm. And we're like, is there any lights? Yeah, we got lights. Click it on, and it's two like little disco balls you get at Spencer's Gifts. And the producer was like, no, we can't. I was like, no, you fucking leave it. You leave that. This is perfect with everything that's going down. So like the owner has to show up, turn on the sound system. And he's like, the producer's like, okay, great. Is just up here. They're like, yeah, just up here, just here behind these tables. Great. So go a little closer to showtime, and dude was like, hey, can we shut the TVs off? And the owner was like, shut them off, buddy. It's race night. No, we're not shutting them off. People are watching the races. No. And one of the TVs was directly behind where we were performing. And so...
of course it was.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't it be?
So we're on the floor. We're up away from everybody else. Disco lights going. Race on the TV using a really not a good sound... Like probably great for karaoke. Not good for what we're doing. And it was one of those shows where there was just too many people booked. Which happened, whatever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How did the producer not know that they didn't have this stuff? Like, how are you going to book a show and produce a show at a venue and not know anything about said venue?
Well, now
that's what I don't get. Like,
right.
He should have knew all of this stuff going into it. He should have already knew beforehand.
That's kind of what I thought.
Because that tells me he didn't actually ever go to the venue.
No. Because he called and said, do you have lights and sound? And they said, yeah. And he said, great. I don't have to bring mine.
Oh.
And so what's great is that from this experience, even though it wasn't me, I was just involved. Anywhere I go that says, hey, we have lights and sound, I take my own lights and sound just in case.
Yeah, which is a good call. I mean,
yeah.
I don't have lights, but I have sound, and I typically travel with it. But yeah.
And granted, this is like my second year into comedy. Mm-hmm. So I'm still just like happy to be there. Whatever, hey, great. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it. So the openers go up, and the second opener is a buddy of mine, Tom, who was just like, he leans in, he's like, watch this. I don't give a shit about these people. And he goes up, and now we're, again, Southern Illinois, very Southern Illinois. And Tom walks up, and he's dressed like a college professor. Dude is just super coiffed, perfect hair, small glasses, sweater vest, jacket, and he walks up, and he's like, what's going on, everybody? And everyone kind of goes, eh, and he goes, man, Hillary, isn't she great? the whole room boos, and he's like, yes, give it to me. And so he intentionally tanks. And then he's like, he walks up as I'm getting introed, because I'm the feature act. And he goes, you got two choices. Dig the hole deeper or try to crawl out. And I was like, I'm going to crawl out of this son of a bitch. That's what I'm going to do. I did not. I did not crawl out of that hole.
Oh no! I feel like you should have had a good chance, because I feel like you're the demographic. Like you know what I mean?
Oh
like,
yeah.
You look like a comic that they would be into.
Well,
they're there for races and such, like, and that sort of thing.
I usually. It's funny, just with the way I look and the way I sound. Those demographics. Usually go, oh, that's our guy. And then I can kind of get away with saying whatever I want, because they're like, oh, he's just, he's just full of shit.
Yep.
And I started to dig the way out of the hole, right? I mean, I could feel, and I'm starting to get laughs. I'm getting attention. And I even took a second and did a cocky maneuver, looked over at Tom, who was sitting over this direction, and went, told you. And then I started getting laughs. And I was like, oh, this is it. And Nicole's back there she's like, yeah, baby. She's pumping her fist at me.
Cheering you on. And
then I don't remember what joke I told, but they were like, mm-mm. They just kind of shrunk back. And at that moment, so like the big head masks that were popular a few years ago.
Oh yeah. They're like the mascot masks almost.
Uh-huh.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And this one was the crying baby. Mm-hmm. The owner came out with the crying baby mask and started doing a little kooky dance right in front of me. And that's it. That was it. I had nothing. I couldn't give the audience anything else, because that's what they wanted. Was a little kooky dance with a baby mask on. And later on, that dude came up and he's like, I'm sorry, man. I thought that was just something we could do. And I was like, no, that's not a thing you do.
That's definitely not a thing you do.
And I still had 10 more minutes in my set. And that was one of those moments where I was just like, you know what? Screw you people. I've got 10 minutes left, and you're going to listen to every last minute of what I had planned. And it just crickets after that, because after he sat down, it was just like, how do you follow that? You don't follow that.
Yeah. Well, and it's pretty bad when it was like in the middle of your set too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're doing good, and then suddenly you're derailed.
Yeah. Yeah. It was almost demoralizing, except for the guy that was headlining that night. And this Nathan Orton, he's actually out in New York now. He started in St. Louis. And as I was walking back, he grabbed me. And it was the first time he and I'd worked together, but he hugged me and he goes, no one could have done any better. And I'm going to bomb my face off. Thank you for trying. And he went up. People left as he was in the middle of his set. And this guy he's a good comic. They just got up and left. They didn't turn the sound down on the gambling machines. So you could just hear the ding, 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 ding. And he was just like, he'd look at his watch and be like, all right, 30 more minutes. All right. And he was like, you're paying me for an hour? I'm doing an hour.
Wow. That's dedication.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the things that I'd always been told is no matter how it's going, do your time.
Oh, yep. Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
I totally agree with that. Although I've been in situations where I didn't necessarily do all the time, or I've seen the comic not do all their time, but they made the right call. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like the people running the show and the audience, and like it wasn't going well, and everybody, it was an unsaid agreement that the show should just end. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I've actually not made the call, but I've suggested that at bad, where I'm just in the back, just looking, going, just kill it.
Yep, just that. This is it.
Yeah, they're done. We're done. Let's get out of here.
Let's call it a night. There's no need for that. A lot of the times that I've seen that happen is like at corporate shows, is where I'm like, well, you guys aren't into this. I can clearly see that.
Which, yeah, I've done one straight up corporate show, and it was a Christmas party, and they had me performing, and I was too new to be doing this, but the person that was supposed to do it backed out, and so I went in, and it was rough. It was because it was during dinner. They wanted me to perform. They didn't provide me a sound system, and I didn't know.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. I was.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. And I'm working on my Minnesota accents up here. Oh, jeez. Okay, then.
Oh, boy. Oh, golly.
Geez. Okay, then.
Oh, cheese and crackers. You don't say. But yeah.
I've actually been trying to work on that a little bit because this is good, a little off topic, but I got pulled over and the cops were like, their accents were super strong. Like, I wasn't sure if they were really their accents or if I was being punked. Like, that's how over the top it was. Because one of them was like, I swear to God, one of the cops was Hispanic. And he talked with a strong Minnesota accent. And then there was a woman partner or whatever, and I couldn't, she was on the other side of the car, so I couldn't really tell, what her ethnicity was. But either way, they both had these strong Minnesota accents, and I was like, I literally and then he, when they left, he was like, well, I just, your taillight's out, you better get it fixed, and then he goes, here's my card, make sure you go onto the website and leave me a review. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then I just sat there, and I'm like, am I in the twilight? Like, did I just get punked? And all I could think of is that they were doing a Super Troopers thing where they got out of they pulled me over, and he looked over at her, at his partner. He's like, should we do Minnesota Nice? And she just looked at him, hey, and then they get out and go right into character. Yeah.
I guarantee that's what happened.
I want to tell that story, but I got to get my accents better. But so it's been helping. I've been watching Fargo.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. Oh jeez. Okay then. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. I was just like so confused.
Just give me a ticket and let me go, please.
Yeah,
because I can't stifle this laughter anymore.
I know. I was like trying not to laugh, and also like thinking to myself, "Is this?" As soon as the interaction was all over, I looked over at Tar, and I'm like, did that really just happen? It's like, did they just punk us?
Did you hear a meow? I swear I heard a meow somewhere.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was like, he was Latino, right?
Yeah, because nobody up there gets a tan. He had to have been.
Yeah, he had that. Yeah, it was crazy. Oh yeah, so that was my little thing. I'm trying to work that into a bit, but getting back to your story, I almost feel like sometimes the bar owners like that get overexcited about comedy shows and stuff are more annoying than hecklers. You get these bar owners that are like, I'm the owner, I can do what I want, and they come in and do what they want like during the show because they don't have proper comedy show etiquette. They don't know anything about it, and to me that's almost more annoying.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I've worked with a lot of bar owners who are just like super cool. They're like, do you tell me? I'm just happy to have you guys, which is great. But yeah, then you get the ones that, well, like I said, this dude was like, oh yeah, forgot. All right, I'm coming in. And then he was like, well, I'm going to get in on the act. Look how silly and crazy I am. And all these people love me. I thought I was helping. That's what it
I
was.
could be a comedian.
I could be a comedian. Let me tell you some jokes, and it's just all rehearsed street jokes. And you're like,
yeah, definitely.
yeah, buddy, you're great. How do you get started? Go to an open mic. I don't want to do that. I know.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go headline the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I headline the theater? Tell me that road.
Okay, where's the nearest comedy club? I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the owner. I'm great. They'll see it. Yeah. Okay.
I've definitely ran into people like that.
Oh, yeah.
With venue owners and managers like that. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I could do
have
comedy.
No idea.
Oh, dude. It's so many people.
Oh, it really is.
And there are some very funny human beings out there. But here's the thing. I'm friends with a lot of really funny people, and all of them are like, I would love to do this, but I know that I can't. I can't do it on stage. I can do it in the garage and be funny. I can stand in my driveway and I can make all of us laugh. But I know that to prepare and get myself on stage and enjoy it, I can't do it. And I was like, that's a good, good recognition to have of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and it sucks too, because like, it's one thing like if you're dealing with a heckler, because you can try to put them down, but when it's the owner being obnoxious like that, you got to tread lightly, because you piss them off and they might not pay you, or
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you're just like, you got to play along, or you might not get paid. Mm-hmm. You never know how they're going to react. So it really puts you in a bad spot.
Oh yeah.
Like, you want to just tell them to go fuck themselves, but also you want to be able to make sure you get to take your money with you when you leave.
Yeah, and I know that we hadn't gotten the money yet, so it's just like, well, that's not how we do it. But, let me, okay, we're being friendly and buddies. Yeah, I like you.
Friend. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like you too, man. Yeah, we're friends, but you also can burn in hell a little bit. Just a little.
We're friends until you've handed over the money and then burn in hell.
Yeah. Fuck you and your mother.
Oh, man, that's funny. Owners like that. And that's the other thing too, that I get that they're, it's hard to do comedy in a bar anyway. And then when you have like a sports thing going on and they refuse to shut off TVs.
Oh yeah.
Especially at least shut the one off behind the stage. You know what I mean? Like, I get if you're going to leave all the rest of the TVs on in the bar, fine, but at least shut that one TV off.
Yeah, for sure. Cuz these people are distracted as it is. Mm-hmm. We don't need to help them.
No, absolutely.
We've already ambushed them with comedy because you didn't tell them we were going to be there. So let help us out, because you've already agreed to do this and you've agreed to give us money. So because what they don't understand is if they don't help us put on a good show, then their regulars are going to go, why in the hell did you do that? And then that owner's like, I don't know. I didn't think they were funny. Anyway, we won't be having them again.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been
comedy.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. It had potential to be good, but they didn't want to let it be that way. It's funny too, because like that reminds me of I did a show. It was just an open mic, but they had like a football game going, and there wasn't a monitor like on the stage, but right next to the stage was like this big 6-foot freaking projector. So it wasn't even a TV; it was a projector screen. And it was huge. Like, I was on stage. I even made a comment about how the players on the TV were taller than me. And I'm like, that's how big this screen was.
That's
I was just
insane.
like, and it's still going during the show.
Yeah. Well, and if you do try to say, no, I know my regular, it'll be fine.
This is my bar. You'll be, yep.
Yeah. And you're like, that's why it's such a gift when you run into either a bar owner or a venue owner who's like, you tell me. You
Oh,
tell me what you need, and I will do everything. Here's the thing. This is not the only time this happened with this guy, with this producer. I worked with him a few times after
I'm not
that.
surprised by that at all, actually.
We went to one and walked in, and they were like, oh, is that tonight? And we went, yeah, it's right. You put it on they had a whiteboard that they had written, the neon whiteboard,
Yep.
We're right there. And the bartender was like, oh, well, over there. And it's this, junk was all over the stage. The light that this producer brought was like just a work light, just like a work spot.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it wasn't going to reach to the stage, so we actually had to come out onto what would be the dance floor. The host was doing, he did what his host was supposed to do, which is open with, 10, 15 minutes. He did 25 up top.
Oh, geez.
And then he was doing time in between each comic. There was, he happened to be a individual of color, and there was an old man in a camouflage cowboy hat, camouflage shirt, camouflage pants, and camouflage boots. And our African-American host was trying to get this guy into the show, and this guy essentially threatened to shoot him.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's when you should definitely stop.
Yeah, but of course, did he? He was like, all right, well, on that note, he went, here's your next comic, Larry Smith. And I was like, oh, freaking great. And I did some time, and that was one of those moments where I was like, this is going awful. And the old man leaned over to his woman. I don't know if it was his wife or his mistress. I'm not judging him. I'm just assuming some things. But he said very loudly, you think this guy's funny? Because she was laughing. And she was like, I guess not.
Oh, jeez.
And I looked at him.
Fun.
Oh, yeah. And but I looked at him and I was like, you threatened to shoot the host. If you'd do me a favor and shoot me instead and just put us all out of our misery, I'd appreciate it. The set did not go any better after that. And at that point, he did leave during the guy that was headlining set too. He just like, well, I'm out of here, and just clanking around and talking loud. And it was just like, I've done a few of those shows with that producer until I just got to the point where I was like, I can't. I got to start picking more quality over quantity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny because it's funny when people like your regulars or whatever at a bar, and if they do a show and they don't like it, they get all pissed and throw a fit. They like throw a tantrum on their way out.
Yeah,
it's like, just leave. You don't have to throw a fit on your way out. Just go. I'm
sorry, none of us is doing "Where's your sign?" And not to shit on Bill Engvall. I don't make it a habit of crapping on other comics, but that's what I think this guy was looking for.
Oh, yeah, you definitely. I was just going to say that people definitely have like their perspective of what they think comedy should be.
Absolutely.
And that's based on whoever their favorite comic is.
Yeah. Yeah. And and that's your perception, great. But if you're not getting that, just understand that, it's not wrong. It's just different, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just might not be for you. So just be quiet and leave quietly. That's all we're saying.
Exactly.
The bumming of bombing, that dreadful feeling, how long does that typically last for you?
It used to last so long, dude. It used to last so long. Like it would eat at me for, until I had another good show. So it could be, especially in the beginning, that might be, bless you. That might,
Got a little tickle in my throat. I'm trying to like hold it back. I don't have the water here.
Into the night it is.
Ooh.
But, sometimes it would be like, a week or two where I was just hating on myself. And what's nice is what's come with experience and time and getting better. If I do shit the bed on a set, I don't beat myself up like I used to. I just go, all right, well, sometimes. It's a great. I think I've told you that story, but it was told by, I believe it was. So it's to my friend Rich, and I think it was Todd Yon who had told him that he was working with Bill Hicks. Okay, and Todd did this, or maybe it was John again. I'm trying to remember whoever featured for Bill Hicks. Doesn't matter. But he goes in and he murders, right? Bill Hicks goes in to headline. People boo. They stand up. They walk out. The feature's sitting there and drinking his beer. Bill comes out, lights a cigarette, looks at the feature, shrugs, and goes, sometimes. Second show, he goes in. The feature has a decent set. Not a bad one, not a great one. Good set, solid set. Hicks goes in, gets like 8 standing ovations. Gets, his set takes almost 2 hours because people can't stop clapping.
Wow.
And he comes out after the show, lights a cigarette, looks at his feature, and goes, sometimes. And I'm like, that's what I keep in mind. Is it sometimes? And
absolutely.
Now, for what I do is I try to walk away with a more scientific mind behind it. Okay, could I have done something differently? What could I have done differently? Should I have read the crowd better? Is there just no reading that crowd? Was I just not their cup of tea? And so, and sometimes you do a newer joke and it doesn't land and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to try something different with that joke. Or, okay, I've tried that a few times. It doesn't work. I like it. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to.
Yeah.
And then you send it down the way. So for me, I mean, it may last until I can sit down, watch the video, pick apart what worked and what didn't. Was it me? Because sometimes,
and that's a good lead into what you try to do to improve from a bad set. How do you try to break it down or analyze it or figure out what went wrong?
Well, and that's I had a set recently where I was featuring for somebody, and it was not a great space for comedy. And by that I mean it's a restaurant, bar and grill kind of place. It's an old bank that has been converted to a bar and restaurant. So the ceilings are super high, right?
Yeah.
And I recorded it. A buddy of mine was the MC. And I came off and I was just like, what happened? And he goes, you got more laughs than you think. They were all traveling backwards and up. But I'm telling you, go back and watch it. I said, I can't bring myself to watch this video. And he's like, then give it a few days and go back and watch it. He was right. Now, there were a few things where because there were some older people there that just weren't into me. And I was like, you're not going to like me. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going back and really looking at it and going, okay, who did they laugh at that night? What did they laugh at? That's what they wanted. And what I gave them, they didn't want. And that happens,
Yep. Absolutely.
And
you make a point though about when you watch a video, sometimes it's not how you think it is. Because I've definitely had a situation where I thought I did terrible. Like when I got off stage, I was like, well, that was like the worst show of my life. And then I got myself to watch the video or listen to the audio, and I was like, and then it's like, oh wait, I am getting some good laughs here and there.
Yeah.
I guess it is better than I just couldn't hear them laughing.
I've also had the opposite where I thought I had a really good set, go back and watch it and go, Well, the front row must have loved it because that's apparently all I was hearing because I'm not getting anything. But yeah, it's now sitting down and going, okay, what could I have done? Could I have done anything differently? And if I couldn't, oh well. I've got until now, I have something else booked. I'll go try something else. I'm just glad that the last show I did 2 shows right at the beginning of March, and 2 sold out shows, got to run my hour, and just had 2 really good sets. The second set in particular was, as it is, sometimes if you do 2 shows in a night, this, your first set is it's a rehearsal. Yep. And that second set for that, the late crowd is when you go in and you're loose and you're like, all right, here, now you guys get the real show. Now that grandma and grandpa went to bed, now it's time to party. And so as I have been, as this has progressed and I've been missing comedy more and more.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like we all are.
Oh, yeah.
I just had, just yesterday, my last gigs that I had booked in May finally canceled. So like now I don't have anything booked till whenever. I mean, and I'm at the point too where I'm like, I don't even know, should I be reaching out to clubs to even see?
Right.
Because I don't even know what like etiquette, because I had a couple clubs like right at the beginning of this will hit me up that I had reached out to, and they're like, well, this is what you got to do to be considered to work here. And then now it's like, well, do I bother right now or should I wait? And then I'm like, well, they do have time to watch my stuff, so maybe this would be a good time to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I'm with you. I'm like, I've got some stuff that's booked in May that I know. I've talked to the people that I'm working with, and they're like, we're going to hold off for as long as we can. And I'm like, that's fine.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, we might as well postpone.
Just get it out of the way.
But I'm glad I recorded those last sets that I did so I can go back and watch it and be like, that was me so long ago. Oh, look at my pretty boy. Look how young and handsome.
Oh, the days when live comedy existed. We got to get wrapped up. I like to do some fun stuff at the end. What's the worst thing you've ever said to anybody on stage or from stage?
I told a girl that her niece was a future school shooter. But then I turned it into a bit later, and it actually works pretty good.
That's funny.
But I was talking about how no child loves salad, and she yelled from the back, my niece loves salad. And I said, for God's sakes, that means she's a psychopath, a future school shooter, and you need to give her a few more hugs. That's probably the worst thing I've ever said.
Oh, that's funny. How did the lady react?
She left.
Quietly.
She left quietly, though.
Oh, there you go. At least she left quietly.
I will tell you, on the way out, her boyfriend went, as he was walking past, he was like, I thought it was funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So.
Oh, man. What's something that you're proud of so far in life? Like, it can be comedy or personal life or just something that you've achieved that you're really proud of. This is where I like to end. Positive.
Yes, and positive. Man, I know. Okay, quick cheesy answer. I'm very proud of my kids because they're well adjusted for the most part and funny, and they give me a lot of material. But the hour that I put together, if we're just, I want to, because I miss it so much. But the hour I put together, and I was really proud of that because I worked a year and a half of weeding out jokes that don't work or that aren't really me anymore. And I really started weaving in and doing stuff that that really represents me and who I am, and I'm just really proud of the writing and of the presentation of my material that I did. And I can't wait to do it again. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where can people find you? Plug your social media, buddy.
At Poundsmith2 on Twitter and also on Facebook. And just go to Dan's Facebook, or not Facebook, sorry, Twitter and Instagram. And then go to Dan's page, because it's easier to find Dan Bublitz. And then find me in his friends list on Facebook, because I don't have a Facebook page. I'm not there yet. But just friend me. I'm a nice guy, and it's fun to follow me. I'm also on Snapchat, but I think it's the same thing. I think it's at Poundsmith too.
Yeah, I don't do the Snapchat. I did for I go back and forth. Like, I was on it for a little bit, and then I'm like, why am I on this? I'm not gonna attract other like followers. It's just people I know. And then I'm like, so then I get away from it. And then I'm like, oh, but I got friends on there that are cool to keep in touch with. And then I get back on it, and then I'm like, oh, this is dumb. Why am I on it?
Yeah, pretty much. I just chat with my friends on it. I used to do much more fun stuff, but then I just got away from it because I started concentrating on Instagram and Twitter more.
Yeah. So. And I feel like that, because the last time I was on Snapchat, there wasn't a lot of a lot of my friends weren't doing anything on it. And I'm like, well, why do I have this now?
Precisely.
So I just I'll get rid of it, I guess. Well, thank you, Larry, for joining me.
Thank you, buddy.
The Art of Bombing is a Blitz Entertainment production. Hosted and produced by Dan Bublitz Jr., The Art of Bombing intro music was written and performed by John Holt. All other music used in this podcast was under the Creative Commons license. If you would like to help The Art of Bombing, you can do so by subscribing, rating, and reviewing our show on whatever podcast application you use to listen to The Art of Bombing. For previous episodes, blogs, and more, visit artofbombingpod.com. Have a great week, and remember, stay safe so you can live to love.